Meredith. Hold on, Meredith is on.
Hey, is the weather okay there?
Where I am, I'm in New Jersey.
Oh, you're in Jersey. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the weather's great here.
I know it is. Oh, crap. Where are you?
Girls.
Are you in?
Hi.
There you are. Hey, how do you see when somebody's on? Because I can't see anything except you.
Go to share screen.
Share content?
And resume the recording. So for those of you, I think everybody on here knows me, but for those of you that don't, I'm just going to give you a quick kind of background about myself and kind of share my story real quick, and then we're going to spend the time tonight talking about recruiting. So I'm really excited to talk about it. Our team has grown by leaps and bounds, and the growth on our team is from all of you. All of you recruiting people, adding to our team. I think right now the Fashion Fanatics team has about 107 people. And I think 16 of them are direct to me. And the rest of them are growth from your team. So that is just a commendable accomplishment for all of you. For those of you that are direct to me, you are familiar with kind of how I did recruiting. And some of you that are direct to me were some of my first directs. So what I do now is not necessarily what I did with you. But these are recommendations that I'm going to go over today on ways that I think that you can be successful with recruiting. So first off, I'm Meredith Tucker. My background is corporate banking, management, marketing. My most recent job was for a property restoration company, and I was the marketing manager. So I took care of all the social media, the website, a lot of the sales activities, working with the sales team and making sure they had the things that they needed to be successful. So that was a great experience for me. LuLaRoe just kind of fell in my lap. I had a friend who started selling LuLaRoe. I thought she was nuts. I really thought she was crazy. I didn't understand who would wear these pants with these crazy patterns on them, and really who would be caught dead in leggings out in public. That was my attitude. But I kind of caved in. I went over to her house. I took a look at it. The one thing that helped me fall in love with LuLaRoe is seeing women of all shapes and sizes feeling comfortable in the clothes that they would put on at her house. I would literally think in my head, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that girl is going to try that on. That is going to look terrible. And she would come out and she would look amazing from head to toe. She was glowing. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome that a dress or, a shirt or a skirt can do that for somebody. So I was really kind of drawn to that. You guys have probably heard me say, if you're on my page, the Nicole dress was my first love with LuLaRoe, and that's what really drew me to the brand was the Nicole dress. It was comfortable. It was feminine. I could wear it to work. I could be comfortable, and I could still look classy in the Nicole dress. So I really loved that. And the most important thing that drew me to being a consultant with LuLaRoe was being the first person to open the box. I had a lot of envy that I was at work all day and they would open this box while I was at work. And by the time I would get there, all the good stuff would be gone, at least in my mind. And so that was kind of like, well, shoot, if I'm spending all this money on clothes, why don't I just invest a little bit more money, be a consultant, make a little bit of money, but also be the very first person to open the box and kind of get the cream of the crop on the shipment. So that was kind of a hard sell to my husband, why we needed to spend that much money for me to be the first person to open the box. But as I told you, sales was kind of my natural background. And my husband, we've been together since high school. We're high school sweethearts. So I think that he kind of understood the type of person that I am. And if I commit to something and if I set my mind to something, I'm going to make it happen. So back when I started in November, I got my initial inventory the day after Thanksgiving. We spent $9,000 on our initial inventory. That $9,000 was money that we didn't have. I took out a loan for that money, and I paid the final payment on that loan in less than 3 months. So literally made the final payment on a $9,000 loan in less than 90 days. I should look on the exact date that I made that final payment. Welcome to all the ladies that just joined us. I'm just sharing a little bit about my story. And so I also have this recording, so we'll be able to post it on both team pages, our page and Sandy's team page, so that you can go back if you missed the beginning. But basically, you know, we were able to get started. We were able to get off to a great start. I did work full time, and by full time, I mean, you know, 50, 55 plus hours sometimes. And I had a 1-year-old at the time. I was married. I had a household to keep up with. Obviously, I still have all of that, but the one thing I don't have is that full-time job. Because in June of this year, so approximately 6 or 7 months into being a LuLaRoe consultant, I was able to quit my job and stay home and be a work-from-home mom. My daughter does still go to part-time daycare so that I can have some undivided time to focus on my business. But today was one of the days that she doesn't go to daycare. So we got to hang out together. We had lunch, we took a nap, and we were able to, you know, spend that quality time together. Tomorrow she goes to daycare, and I'm going to be from sunup to sundown working my business for a sale we're having tomorrow night. So you make it work as far as scheduling and timing. We all have the same amount of hours in the day. The President of the United States has the same amount of hours in the day that we do. You know, stay-at-home moms have the same amount of hours in the day that we do. So no matter what it is you do, you have the same amount of hours. You just have to learn to kind of work around your schedule. And for those of you on our team, you've heard me say it before, to get your family's buy-in, to really create some success in your business, a big thing that worked for me was scheduling. My family, down to my parents that don't even live here, they knew, you know, that Wednesday nights I was posting inventory, or Tuesday nights I was doing this, and we stuck to that schedule. My husband knew that on Tuesday nights, if I was posting inventory, it was his job to do bath time and bedtime with our daughter. That was the one night a week that we could make that sacrifice. You know, the other nights I was fully involved with my family, but making that schedule, same thing. Now we're on a schedule where Tuesday nights I post in my group, which we've been a little off that. And Wednesday nights we do this webinar. So my husband is very much on board to help and take up, you know, some extra responsibility on those nights. I'm very fortunate that I can stay pretty far from the kitchen. My husband does do a lot of the cooking, but I understand that not everybody has that luxury. So, you know, schedule out your meals, make some crock pots, do what you got to do to make things happen in this business. So if you have any questions kind of about my backstory, certainly send me a private message on Facebook. Let me know. I'll certainly be happy to talk to you about it a little bit more. And like I said, we'll be sharing this video so everybody will have access to the story. So I have 10 tips for recruiting. And for those of you that haven't been on our webinar too, I have like a little dual screen thing going on here. So if you're like, what is she looking at over there? It's just my notes on my computer screen. So don't wonder why I'm like side eyeing, but I'm going to go through these 10 tips. I do try to go through them somewhat quickly, you know, so flag me down. I do have it to where I can see most of you if you have your cameras on. So if you just need to wave me down, or if you want to do the chat feature, you can certainly chat any questions that you have or unmute and ask questions, but we will do a question and answer at the end. So number one, as far as recruiting, is share your why often. Now, for those of you that are on my VIP page, I don't share my why a whole lot anymore. And quite frankly, shame on me. Just because I'm at a certain place in my business doesn't mean I should stop sharing my why. I recommend that you share your why 2 times a week. If that's Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Mondays and Fridays, or, you know, Tuesday and Wednesday, it doesn't matter. Share it twice a week. Make it a powerful story. And a lot of you say, well, I don't really have a powerful story. That's how I felt. I just wanted to be the first person to open the box. But guess how many people that speaks to? Guess how many LuLaRoe addicts there are that would love to be the first person to open the box? And maybe they just need somebody to say that. Also understand that your why is going to evolve over time. So what my why was last November is not really what my why is today. My why today is freedom. I mean, that's the one thing: financial freedom, freedom from my time, freedom to make my own schedule, freedom to do what I want to do. There's luxuries that we have already in our family that we weren't sure we would ever have. And so we've got a great opportunity right at our fingertips. So your why is going to change over time. One thing I always recommend is work with your sponsor. If you're not sure that your why is powerful enough, work with your sponsor. They would be happy to kind of talk through that with you. Or somebody else, your friend, your spouse, anybody that's willing to kind of sit down and listen. One of the things we did at the Tampa training was you had to kind of turn around and ask somebody that was around you, why, and you just kept asking why until they got to the real root of why they got started in this business. And I think that was a really powerful activity. But just make sure that you're sharing it often and make it a powerful story. Number 2 is stop recruiting and start sponsoring. What I mean by that is change your language. When we talk about recruiting, we talk about, and I know I use that term as well, this was a recruiting training, this is all about recruiting, but you really want to focus on sponsoring. And when you change your mindset to that, because if you think about it, recruiting is get on my team and enjoy the ride. But sponsoring is really being a coach, being a mentor, being a friend. Michelle, that's on our team, we just had this conversation this morning. And, it's like we talk to each other more than we talk to our own best friends that we've known for years. Elizabeth and I, the first time we talked on the phone, we were like instant BFFs. And that doesn't change. When you begin to talk to somebody about this business and they come on as part of your team, they become your friend. And so number 1, you want to like these people that you're bringing onto the team, but you also want to understand that you need to be a coach, you need to be a mentor, and you need to be a friend to these people. I think it's kind of cool that in LuLaRoe, our titles are trainer, coach, and mentor, because that's what you need to be to these people that you're recruiting on your team. Also, focus on the training, the communication that you're going to offer, not just join my team and I'm going to help you get started. Focus on the ways that you're going to help them get started. So, if you haven't recruited anybody yet, talk to your sponsor or write down some of the things that your sponsor has done for you. If you have started getting people on your team, write down some of the things that you've done to help them be successful so that you can share that with future generations of your team. But you just want to focus on the sponsoring aspect and not the recruiting aspect of why they should be a part of your team. Number 3 is kind of a 2-part response. No negativity and be selectively enthusiastic. So I think the no negativity is kind of exactly what it is. Don't be negative on your VIP page, on your in your parties, when you're talking to hostesses. Don't be negative. You guys, I'm in a position right now, I haven't gotten a single box of inventory in 3 weeks. Something happened with my order. I have an order from the 15th of September that I still don't have. Do you think that I've been freaking out? Yes. But do you think I told my VIP group that I have the most epic amount of new inventory coming tomorrow? Yep, I did. And I have the most people ever that have RSVP'd to the event. And yeah, I was kind of freaking out a little bit. But guess what? There's no negativity. They can't have it. If you spew that negativity on your page, if you spew that negativity to your hostesses, it's going to come out when it comes time for people to decide whose team they want to join. So if you have something negative to say, call your sponsor. Or write yourself an email or write yourself a private message with the negativity. There's a lot of negative things, but guess what? There's so many more positive things that are happening. The company is doing remarkable things for our business. We are just caught in the newness of this company. Yes, we've been around for 3 years, but they are doing so much to help us be a better company. And there's going to be some growing pains. Nina, I think there's a couple of you on here that are on Nina's team. I know she's on vacation right now, but she was telling me she was with It Works in the growing pains of their business. And she was like, these problems LuLaRoe is having is nothing compared to the problems It Works was having. And they're a successful direct sales company. So, don't be discouraged and don't be negative by what's going on. Just talk to us as sponsors, trainers, and coaches so that we can help you kind of see the bright side and be a creator in those problems. And be selectively enthusiastic. You've definitely run into people, you've probably seen people in the LuLaRoe business that are like way over the top. And you're just like, oh my gosh, here she goes again. That's not a bad thing, but sometimes that can come across as fake. So just make sure that you're being selectively enthusiastic. If you're with somebody or around somebody who is like super cheerleader, be super cheerleader, but just understand that not everybody is going to be like that. Some people, you got to tone it down a little bit. And some people really kind of want to know the facts. So don't be afraid, to be that selectively enthusiastic. While I was doing a little bit of research for this call, I found just an awesome, amazing, I guess you could call it a quote or a saying, but it was, be a golden duck, calm, cool, and collected on the surface, but paddling like crazy underneath. And that's how we have to be in this business. You have to be calm, cool, and collected on the outside, but you got to be spinning your wheels on the inside and working really, really hard. And quite frankly, a lot of people come into this business because they think it's easy because we make it look easy. And that means that we're good at what we do. But you want to make sure that, again, you're telling people that this is work. This is not just 7 boxes of clothes are going to show up at your house and people are going to be knocking down your door to get it. You got to really work for it. You got to be working Instagram, Facebook, social media, having in-home parties, having pop-ups. You really got to work this business, but you also, it's okay to fake it, that whole golden duck thing. So calm, cool, collected on the surface, but paddling like crazy underneath. Number 4 is get out of your own way. And by that, I mean, don't let your mind win. Don't let your doubt set in. I can tell you that I know for a fact almost everybody that's I've sponsored on my team has called me in that waiting period and said, I don't know if I can do this. And you know what? I turn on that super cheerleader mode and I tell them, you can do this, and you motivate them and you push them, but don't let that doubt win. If you have people in your life that are doubting you, prove them wrong. Use that as fuel, but just get out of your own way, get out of your own head, get outside of the box, and really make this happen. So, and if people see you as that kind of find a way, make a way person, then they're going to want to be a part of your team. They're going to want to be a part of that, and they're going to want to be a part of this and what we have going on. Number 5 is kind of a 2-part, and this kind of goes back to what Debbie mentioned earlier, is believe in yourself and act like a leader. And I think Debbie does a remarkable job of acting like a leader. And she made a comment, I can't wait till I can send a mass text to all the people on my team to tell them about the call or to tell them about something. Well, guess what? We all can send a mass text to everybody on our team, even if that's one person. But you got to dream big, you got to think big, and you got to believe in yourself. You got to know that you're capable of being a trainer, of being a coach, of being a mentor. That was one of the things that I really didn't really think I wanted a team. And now you guys on this team have blessed me more than any skirt I sell. I love, love, love shopping on your pages. I love being a part of your groups. I love supporting you. I love being there for you. That is so much more rewarding to me than dealing with the customers. I love dealing with the customers, but I love dealing with you guys even more. And that's because I believe in myself as a leader. And I think that most of you would probably agree that those that act like a leader are the ones that you want to follow. If there's somebody that you know of that doesn't really act like a leader, you might ignore them or not pay attention to them. And so that's what we want to avoid. We want people to be acting like leaders on our team. Number 6 is be prepared. So be prepared when someone asks you about the opportunity. Now, some of you I know are brand new and you might not know a lot about the career plan or the commission structure. We did do a training video on that, so I'll be happy to kind of bump that to the top of the page. And for those of you on Sandy's team, I'll make sure to share that with her so that she can share it with your team page. But know the commission and know the career plan. Because people are going to ask you that. People want to know how to make money in this business, and the compensation plan and the career plan is a great way to make that money. There's a lot of leaders in this company that make a lot more money with their teams than they do selling the clothes. So it's a great career advancement by getting people on your team. But just make sure you understand how that works. And it is not always easy. And I'm not saying that you have to know all the answers. But don't say, I don't know, I think you can bring people on your team. No, I mean, a simple answer to that is you get a percentage of every single person that joins on your downline. If you don't know the exact percentage, that's okay. We have some paperwork and some documents that you can share, but you want to at least know that they're going to get a percentage of everybody that is below them. So just kind of keep that in mind. Number 7 is listen for cues. If somebody says to you, it looks like you're having so much fun in your new business, or I'm so obsessed with LuLaRoe. Hello, they need to be a consultant. And I'll tell you, there's been so many people that have made comments like that. And I say to them, have you ever thought about being a consultant? And it strikes up a conversation. Now, whether or not they actually join is a whole nother ball game, but it strikes up a conversation to where they can then ask questions. I can talk to them. I can ask questions to them to help them get what they need, out of the details of this opportunity. So you have to listen for the cues. People will make comments at your in-home parties, your hostesses. People will comment, I did a post, tell me how many LuLaRoe pieces you have. Well, the ones that have 50 or 100 pieces of LuLaRoe, I mean, that's more than probably most of us do as consultants. So they need to be consultants, and you need to be the first one to talk to them about the opportunity. So just make sure you're listening for those cues. Number 8 is get outside of your own network. So your family and your friends are a great place to start. They're the perfect people to rally around you and get involved with your launch party. But guess what? They're not going to buy 350 pieces of LuLaRoe clothing. They're just not. You have to go meet new people. You have to get out and do networking. You have to get out and do vendor events. You have to do networking events or shows, or talk to strangers in the mall. You have to make sure that you are you have to make sure that you are meeting new people, because that just initial circle of friends is only going to get you so far. You have to get out and meet new people. And I know a lot of people that have recruited their family members, and that's fantastic. But then you have to move past that, because that's only going to get you 1 or 2 people on your team. That's only going to get you a few sales, and you got to move past that for it to really help promote your success. Number 9 is promote your upline support and your team resources. Let people know when you're talking to them about a sponsorship opportunity. Let them know, hey, my sponsor, she does a webinar every Wednesday night so that she can teach us about different things in our business. Our team page is fantastic because there's tons of information. I'm going to be your go-to person for any information that you need. I'm a wealth of information. Tell them that. Let them know that you have resources to help them be successful in this business. Certainly don't offer them any kind of, I'll buy you a rack if you join my team, because that's super cheesy. And we do not want them joining your team for that reason. We want people joining your team who believe in your success and believe in your ability to help them be successful. And if they don't, that's okay. I'm going to say I've probably lost about 5 or 6 people who have gone to join with somebody else. And a lot of that is because I either didn't do one of these 10 things, or they just felt better suited to go work with somebody else. And that's okay. Do I think that I was the best person to help them? Absolutely. But if they don't think that, then that's just going to be a broken relationship, and it's going to be hard to work together. So you want to make sure that you're promoting all of the things that we have to offer and promoting yourself as a great sponsor. And number 10 is the absolute most important key to success when it comes to sponsoring and recruiting, and that is follow-up. If you are not following up with people you've talked to about this business, you're going to lose them, because I'll tell you exactly what happens. Susie gives me a cue that says she's obsessed with LuLaRoe, and I say, hey, Susie, have you ever thought about LuLaRoe? She says, well, yeah, I've kind of thought about it, but I just don't know if I have the money. And I, do the diary of the mouth and tell her everything there is to know about being a LuLaRoe consultant. And guess what she does? She hangs up the phone with me and she goes to YouTube, or she goes to Google, and she starts looking around, and she starts watching videos, and she starts learning more about the business, and she starts hearing from other people that are talking about the business. And there's a lot. For those of you that haven't been on YouTube yet, you can pretty much learn anything about your business on YouTube. It's insane. And I post all of these training videos on YouTube, and I use keywords and different things so that hopefully people will find them, and maybe they'll find some value in them, and maybe they'll reach out to me. But if you don't follow up with Susie, Susie could very well find somebody else that's maybe a little more aggressive or has better follow-up, that is going to talk to them about joining LuLaRoe and is going to push them over the edge to get them on their team versus your team, and you're going to lose them. The biggest thing for me for follow-up is letting the person know when you're going to follow up with them again. So if I talk to Susie tonight, I'm going to tell Susie, hey, I'm going to send you a little bit of information by email about when do you think you'll have a chance to look at it? Will you look at it tonight or tomorrow? And she'll say, oh yeah, when I get to work tomorrow, I'll look at it. Okay, great. What time do you get off work? Oh, you get off at 5? Okay, great. I'm going to give you a call at 5:30 so that we can talk about it further. And I write it down, set an alarm, do whatever you need to do to make sure you call Susie back at 5:30 to talk about this business. Now, does it have to be that specific, nail on the head? No. But you need to set a time when Susie's going to be expecting your call so that you can get a hold of her. She's expecting you to call, and you can talk more detail about the business. So follow-up is key, you guys. And if you're not following up, you're going to lose people that have some interest. So I am going to unmute everybody right now. So if you have any background noise, please ask them to at least temporarily be quiet. I'm going to unmute everybody. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. You're welcome to go ahead and remute yourself if you don't have any questions. If you have questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them.
Do we just talk and answer the question and ask the question?
Yes.
Okay. I have a question. So I have a woman that I have been speaking with who reached out to me, and I've been following up with her just about every other day, and her response is, we're praying on it, we're thinking about it, my husband and I don't want to give her too much space, but how much is too much space in your opinion? Or, should I wait for her to reach out to me at this point? Or it's been about 5 days of me contacting her up until yesterday.
Okay. When was the last time you spoke with her?
Yesterday.
Okay. And it ended with, I'm still praying on it and I'm still thinking.
Yeah. We're still thinking about it. We don't know,
Okay. There is a 50-50 chance that means I'm talking to somebody else, or you know, there's something else going on. That's definitely a thing. I had a girl just recently who blew me off for a couple of weeks, kind of that back and forth, and I would follow up with her every so often, and I'm still thinking about it. You know, I want to talk to my sister, blah blah. And then I was finally able to get her to admit she was talking to somebody else. So that's a possibility, is that she's talking to somebody else. What I would do at this point is I would probably reach out to her maybe tomorrow, and ideally over the phone, like talk to her. If she's local, try to meet up with her, but you know, ideally on the phone, because a lot of times stuff is lost in translation through email or messenger or text. I would just say, you know what, Susie, I totally value your beliefs and your willingness to pray on this opportunity. I know I personally did a lot of prayer about this opportunity. Everybody's religious beliefs are different, but I would just say to her, you know, I totally respect, you know, your willingness to want to really make the right decision and to pray about this. And I certainly don't want to pressure you one way or the other, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. I want to be available to you, and I want to answer any questions you have, but I also don't want to be on your last nerve. So if it's okay with you, follow up with you again in 3 days, or how long do you think it'll take before you have a final decision? Because I want to follow up with you at that point. So just kind of throw the ball in her court, and just say, you know, I don't want to be a pest. I totally respect your willingness to want to pray about it, or your religious beliefs, or however you want to phrase that. You know, but you also don't want to seem desperate. So doing that, you know, every 12 hours you're calling her, she's going to be like, does this girl have anything better to do? And you have a lot of stuff to do as opposed to be chasing her around. So
I've only been reaching out via Messenger. So maybe I'll, you know, give her a call. Those are great. The verbiage you just described, I haven't been using with her, so maybe that's what I need to do.
Yeah, I mean, just throw it back to her. But you know, you can make phone calls through Messenger. So even if you don't have her phone number, call her through Messenger. She might not answer, but she'll at least see she had a missed call from you. And then if she says, "Hey, I saw you called," you know, I would just say, "Hey, give me a call when you have a second," you know, or let me know when it's convenient to give you a ring back. And if she says, "Well, why? What's going on?" "I just wanted to talk to you for a second." You know, so you don't have to be very pushy. But I think just throwing it back to her, and almost kind of letting her go a little bit, and maybe she'll come running back. You know, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes you have to kind of let go. So, great question. Any other questions? Is that Mary?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to tell, who is this? Elizabeth. Whenever I first talked to Sandy, my sponsor, about joining, I was so on the fence. And I literally, her response to me was, because of how long, I don't know how long the wait is to onboard right now, but she's like, the way that it got me was, you don't have to put money up front until you're about to onboard. So you have 8 to 10 weeks to decide, but the longer you're waiting to decide, the longer it is for you to onboard. So for me, it was like, okay, I need to put my application in now. And then when I did that, I put it with her name on it. And I literally was praying for I applied for my loan, and I prayed, and I literally, the last day of getting that loan was when I decided. So it was like I waited an entire month to actually decide, but during that entire month I was doing all my research. But I think like that, knowing that, okay, if I don't do this now, it's going to be way longer. Even if I hadn't made the actual decision, I was just like putting my foot in the door, and then it took me a lot further. So it was like a committed but not committed.
Right. Well, that was my next approach with her, to say, listen, go ahead and just get into the queue, and you can kind of see the business behind the scenes and then decide. But this woman and I initially spoke for almost like 2 hours when we did talk. So we talked for a long time. So I didn't, want to come across that I was just being like, well, go ahead and sign up. Here's my sponsor ID. Like, no matter what, just sign up, So, but that is a great pin, to kind of put in her hat, have her think about. So thanks.
Thank you, Mary Allison. I appreciate that. I think that's a great point. And I know a lot of us have used, that pitch, and it's really not a pitch or a tactic. I guess it's the only kind of way to spin it, but it is absolutely true. The wait right now is still 6 to 8 weeks, and that's plenty of time for them to pray about it, for them to get the money together, for them to do whatever they need to do. And then you don't have to worry about the risk of them going somewhere else. But just know that during that 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to still need you to be involved, to be reaching out to them. Just because they put their paperwork in, you don't forget about them for 6 to 8 weeks until they're ready to get started, because there's so much that they have to do in that time frame. And especially if they're still really debating on the decision. But you certainly want to respect, their right to pray about it, to talk to their spouse, whatever they need to do to make a good decision. A lot of people are trying to get the money together. That's a big reason, like get in the queue now, figure out the money later, loan options and whatnot. So that's
Hey, can I say something, Meredith?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So Inspire is a really huge one for girls that are not yet in the queue, or who are riding that fence line or really want to. I would highly suggest, you're in Tampa, right?
Yes.
Not you, but
no, Elizabeth is in New Jersey. I think she's going in Jersey.
That's right. You told me that. I don't know if there's one out there, but I took 3 girls with me who were just like interested or kind of gave those little subtle hints, and all 3 of them are now on my team. So
wow.
It's like a big, like, it's so different because they can actually see our culture while they're there, and they can feel, the God in our company and just all of that. And so it's really,
that's a great idea.
It's very,
I think mine is like next month. So,
good.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. And, if you, I know if you're taking like 3 people with you, you might not have the means, but invite them as your guest. It's $25. Pay for their ticket if you can. Maybe get them some lunch or something to really make them feel included. And yeah, that's a great way for them to see our culture. For those of you that haven't been to Inspire training, you need to get there. Like whatever you have to do to get there, do it. If you have to drive 3 or 4 hours, I think Debbie did that to get to one.
All of them.
We say what?
All of them. I live in the boonies.
Yeah, Debbie lives really far from everywhere. And so
I lucked out and being in Dallas.
Yay!
Y'all were with us. Yes.
I somehow was in Dallas the same time.
Yeah,
We
you
love-
really did luck out.
So nice to meet you guys.
It's almost over.
Yes. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Anything about recruiting or questions in general?
I kind of have one more comment as far as the person who's interested, not interested, on the fence or whatever. At this point, you have to just move forward to your next prospect. Don't spend too much energy and time on somebody who you're trying to convince either. Like move forward. You'll find somebody else if they're already talking to them, or somebody that really wants to be on your team will sign up on your team.
Absolutely. And I think the more experience you get with the more comfortable you'll be with that kind of bless and release. But the in the beginning it is hard. I know the first person I lost that went to join somebody else's team or didn't join, I was devastated. But now I understand that not everybody is meant to be on our team or a part of our group. But we've got an amazing support system, and I'm just super excited that we were able to join forces with Sandy and her team. And to me, that just shows the sisterhood of LuLaRoe. For those of you that are the praying type, I know that her son is sick right now, so keep her in your prayers. That's why she wasn't able to be on tonight. but I know some of her team is here. So anybody else have any questions? Don't all at once.
I have a question about when you post your why. Is there's a specific link for a call, right? Is that still?
Yeah.
I've only posted my why once, and
Girl, you better go post it right now.
I know I've been avoiding building team, but I think it's something I'm going to start.
Now, why have you been avoiding?
I guess I haven't felt like I 100% like I wanted to wait till I felt like I really knew, like I was in the groove and knew what I was doing, and I kind of feel like I've gotten to that point where
that's definitely not a bad thing. You know, I think that's actually pretty commendable because that's going to make you a better leader for your team. Some people jump right in, and that's fine too. But I think that you're taking that extra, you know, time and energy to want to be a great leader is fantastic. Yes, there is a pre-recorded call that when you are ready to share your why, I highly, highly recommend that you share that pre-recorded call. And I'll make sure we get the contact information on our team page, and I'll mention it to Sandy as well to make sure that you guys all have that. But keep in mind the whole like sharing your why, it doesn't have to be the same copied and pasted story every single time. For those of you that are on my VIP page, you'll see that when I share my why, it's normally a picture of my husband and my kid, because that's a lot of my why. And, you know, I think the last time I shared my why, two of them were out in the front yard skateboarding. My daughter's only 2, and he put her on the skateboard, and we had a video and some pictures. And, you know, that was my why, because that was the middle of the week, and I wasn't racing from work. I was out in the front yard skateboarding with my husband and my kid. I always say my 2 kids because my husband is kind of like a kid. But that's my why. And so when I share my why, it is sometimes slightly different based on the picture that I'm posting with it. But I do highly, highly recommend that you always post pictures with your why. If that's your dog or your kids or your grandkids or your house or your boat or whatever, you know, post a picture along with that so that people really understand. The picture draws attention, but it also helps people kind of get a visual to what that is. And then, of course, if your pets or your kids or whatever you're posting is cute or fun or easy to look at, that's obviously drawing more attention as well. So we'll make sure we get you that pre-recorded call. And for those of you that haven't listened to it yourself, I do highly recommend that you listen. It's Deanne speaking. It's only about 20 minutes. And she's speaking about the company and kind of how she got started and what it all means. So it's really great to hear her heart through that call. So,
Meredith, can you post the link to that?
Can I what?
Post the link for the call?
Yes. Yes. I will post that information on our team page as soon as we're done.
Hey, Meredith.
Yes, ma'am.
We're talking about sponsoring. I don't know if any of my girls are on. I think it looked like some of them are. But I've told everybody that they can sign up people while in the queue. And when I got the notes from home office yesterday, it actually specified in there that you cannot sign up a consultant while you're in the queue. So if any of my girls are on, I know I've told y'all that you can, you cannot.
Yes. And that is true. That is actually a new thing that just came out. So if you are still in the queue, you are currently unable to put people on your team. And really that just goes back to exactly what Mary Allison was saying is we want leaders that really understand what they're doing. In the past, when we had queue people sponsoring more queue people, the upline sponsor was the one having to really help. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing. But we just really want to make sure that people are prepared to be leaders. So that really just goes back to exactly what Mary Allison was saying. So very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? We've got a couple more minutes. I like to be done within the hour.
Meredith,
Yes.
I just wanted to ask regarding that, not signing up anybody while you're in the queue. I
Yes.
actually signed up Rochelle same day that I signed up, and I still have a joint. So
Yeah, you're kind of like grandfathered in. So since you already had her on your team, that's okay. But going forward, they're just saying they don't want Q people signing up more Q people. So if you have somebody who's interested, they either need to wait until you onboard, or you need to consider putting them on your sponsor's team. Now, ideally, it would be best for them to wait so that they can be on your team. But if they're really eager to get started, then you might want to put them, somewhere else. But yes, you'll be grandfathered in, so that won't be taken from you, but just going forward.
okay, so I can't use that join link until I onboard them.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm thinking that they're probably eventually going to take the join link so that you wouldn't have it anymore, because it doesn't really make sense to give you a join link if they don't want you sponsoring people. But yeah, so if you have somebody else who's interested, reach out to Nina, your upline, and we can talk about that. But they have asked that going forward, the QBs don't sponsor new people.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, I hope this was beneficial to you all. I hope you all learned something from this. We will be posting the YouTube link on both team pages. I got some thumbs up, so I appreciate that. And if you guys have future training topics, please send me a private message. Sandy and I are going to be doing these calls every Wednesday, and we'll be kind of taking turns, and we are going to be reaching out to some of you to be guest speakers, because we know that you guys have a lot of knowledge to share with us as well. So we appreciate you taking your time to be with us tonight, and we hope you all have a nice night. Love you guys.
Meredith.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, girls.